Starting with a recent case, Ms. Carroll had temporarily left her child with Mr. Blade while she was working out of state.
Asking the court to proceed in default, I imagine the court will not finalize this one. I would have no objection if the court wanted to finalize it, but I could see why the court might not. This one is... it has some moving parts, Your Honor. So Dad who's not here in court today, even though he was served, is actually in possession of the child.
She expected to get her child back after her work assignment ended. However, Mr. Blade did not return the child.
And that's a bone of contention. Ms. Caro go into more detail, but basically she's going to testify that under false pretenses, Ms. Caro to give him the child and that he's not given the child back. I don't believe we have a jurisdictional, I'm pretty sure we don't have a jurisdictional issue because was living in Texas when this case was filed. She moved to Georgia for work project. I'll let her tell the court more about that, but with the intention of coming back to Texas when her project was done. It was a longer term project. I believe we have jurisdiction. I believe we have significant context with Texas. I think she'll testify that she has another child in Texas and a lot of her family lives in Texas, or all of her family lives in Texas. So I want to make the court aware of those as well. And then I believe Ms. Caro is going to testify to some safety concerns that she has. Other than that, I believe we're going to ask the court to use minimum wage. We'll ask the court to order retroactive child support and to consider non-disclosure. And have you conducted a wage investigation in this matter?
Yes, I have.
Okay, and will you tell the court what you found?
Yes, I have found that it has had a series of reporting employers. They do not amount to minimum wage accumulatively. For each quarter. The last reporting quarter that we have is the third quarter of 2023 for $240. And then we have one for the first quarter of 2023 for $2,948.04.
And so do you have a guideline child support calculation for the court?
The guideline child support calculation here is that minimum wage for $1,256.67. That's gross. There is one child before the court, one child outside the court, asking $28 to go to if there's health insurance to be ordered and child support to be set at $197.
And will you state your full name, please?
Ivana Yvette Cairo.
So where were you living in January when this case was filed?
Living in Killeen, Texas with my aunt.
Okay. And the child was with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Child now?
Child right now is in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Okay. And with whom is the child?
Blade.
Israel is your son's name?
Yes.
Okay, and then with whom is Israel? Who's he living with?
They're Octavian Blade and his father's girlfriend.
Okay. You would like to continue? Sorry, you want custody of your son, don't you?
Yes, I would, yes.
Okay. Let's talk about how we got into that situation. Actually, can you just in your own words tell the court why your son is with his father right now?
With his father because I was going out of town for work. He asked me not to take the child away from him, so I let the child stay with him until my work is complete Monday, January 14th. I come back home to Texas. My son's supposed to meet me back home. That's not going to happen, apparently.
Okay, and so let's talk more about what do you do for a living?
A cement plant. We kind of make cement boards for different projects and companies.
Do you have family? And I'm sorry, where was the job?
In Macon, Georgia.
Any family in that area?
No.
Okay. Was that part of the reason why you agreed for your son to stay with his father while you were working in Georgia?
Yes.
There are other reasons as well?
My mother is his legal guardian while I'm away, so she takes him to all of his doctor's appointments, which is another reason why I preferred him to stay home.
All right, but the biggest reason is the biggest reason why he's with his father right now is because you would not have had any help in Georgia taking care of him?
Mainly,
or are there
yes.
other reasons as well?
That's the biggest one. I wouldn't really have any help.
Okay. When will you be moving back to Texas?
Monday.
Plan to stay in Texas permanently, or do you have other plans to move?
Decided.
Let me ask you this: is your preference to stay in Texas once you get back?
Still deciding.
You and Mr. Blade make parenting decisions together?
We can't make decisions without argument. I should say. He always feels like it's kind of him over me. Like I'm kind of lower tier in the conversation. So that's kind of decision making is always kind of hard. I kind of have to. There's
an argument, and then eventually you're able to talk it out, or is it the argument and then it's his way or the highway? Work it out, or his way or the highway?
It's his way, or it's just not at all.
Based on what you know now, would you have still had your son go live with his father?
Ms. Carroll is concerned about the child's safety and Mr. Blade's behavior, including his use of marijuana around the child and misleading her about their location.
Yeah.
Okay, why not?
I was deceived for about a few months. I was made to believe that my son was in Nevada. He's in North Carolina. To me, my family.
Hold on a second here. So, right. So Octavian, Mr. Blade said that he was going to take your son to Nevada, but he took him to North Carolina instead. Okay, how do you know that he's in North Carolina?
In a picture of him, and at the top it has the location of where the picture was taken.
So you have geolocations from some of the pictures you have of your son.
Yes, and they all say Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Okay.
Here, I'm sorry, ma'am. Was he ever in the United States military? I gotta get used to calling it because that's Fayetteville's where Fort Freedom is. Used to be Bragg. Is his girlfriend in the military? You know why? Who's in Fayetteville? Do you know, or why they were in Fayetteville?
Girlfriend lives in Fayetteville with their other child.
Okay. All right. You may proceed, Mr. Diamond. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have you requested that your son be returned to you?
On multiple occasions.
What was the reply that you received?
That he's not sending him back, and if I ever want to see him again, to get visitation through the court. That information as well.
I'm sorry. Law school. Go ahead.
You have other safety concerns with Mr. Blade? Okay, can you tell the court about your other safety concerns about him? I'm sorry. I'm specifically talking about safety concerns as far as your son being with his father.
No, I more so have concerns about the environment that he's in.
That's what I want to get into. You don't love your son living with his father, correct?
No, not really.
Okay. Does your son have a health condition?
Asthma pump?
So how bad is his asthma?
Bad in the wintertime, and when he's sick, he has a hard time breathing. When he was first born, they did think he had a cystic fibrosis, but it came back negative after some testing.
Okay, but the asthma is serious enough that it's something that needs to be considered. Blade do anything it's harmful as far as your son's asthma is concerned.
Well, him and his girlfriend, they do smoke weed around their children.
And how do we know this?
And there has been times where I've been talking to him, and he basically is telling me all the things that he was letting him play with. Rappers have been one of the things.
Smoking weed, is Mr. Blade capable of being a decent father? Assuming the court creates an order, makes you the primary, right? Orders Mr. Blade to return your son to you at his earliest convenience, or maybe even at his earliest inconvenience. What type of possession and access do you believe Mr. Blade should get for his son?
Be attempt, Mr. Diamond. We're not going to have to go into that. Thank you. All right, ma'am. Here's the deal. You left me some iffy things here, ma'am. Are you going to remain in Texas, or because right now I got jurisdiction? But if you're going to move here and try to move straight out again, then we've got a problem. So, man, what are you're coming back to Texas? You're going to work from the same employer, or what are we looking at here, ma'am?
I'll stay in Texas.
Who are you working for right now?
For Nietzsche High in Macon, Georgia.
Okay, and who are you going to move it? And was that you transfer from Texas to Georgia for the job, or what? What were we looking?
Found the job online, and I just applied for it.
And you don't have employment here in Texas right now? Talking about maybe moving somewhere else other than Texas? When are you?
It was going to be like in the near future, as soon as I get back home.
All right, and who are you going to be staying with here in Texas?
My mother.
And what city is that?
Pflugerville, Texas.
Any other questions of the mother at this time?
I don't believe so, Your Honor. Or, Your Honor, if there's more I'm supposed to be asking him, I guess I'm just missing it.
I have a parent that's been out of the state of Texas for more than 6 months. Sounds like I may have had a child that's been out of the state of Texas for more than 6 months, but I got jurisdiction because everything was filed before.
I'm sorry.
It was filed before then. And now mom's still out of Texas, but is coming back and is going to be living in a different county. And dad is maybe in Fayetteville, Georgia, or somewhere in the vicinity of Fayetteville, Georgia. Fayetteville, North Carolina.
I apologize, Your Honor. I just assumed she was coming back to Bell County, and shame on me for making an assumption.
The judge decides to temporarily grant custody to Ms. Carroll and orders Mr. Blade to return the child to her.
So here's what I'm looking at doing. I'm looking at naming you both temporary joint management servitors, but giving you the right to decide domicile. And right now, I'm going to order that domicile to be either Bell or contiguous counties, which covers Pflugerville. You're not living in part of Pflugerville that's in Travis County, right? You're going to be living in part that's in Williamson County?
I live in the part that's in Travis County.
All right, well, I'm going to order that it be Bell and contiguous counties. And I'll also include Travis County as well, so you can live in Travis County while this is going on temporarily. I'm going to go ahead and not give Dad any rights under this order until further order. I'm ordering that you have the right to decide domicile, and that he's ordered to turn custody over to you, and you and the child are restricted to Texas until I can get a final order in this thing. In other words, ma'am, you cannot leave until we get this thing finalized.
The judge acknowledges the complexity of the case, including the need to involve courts in both Texas and North Carolina. They set up temporary orders and will review the case again in a few weeks.
But here's the problem, ma'am. You now have legal custody of this child, and the order will state that you have legal custody of this child, but you may have to go, you may have to go to North Carolina and file paperwork there to have a proper court up there turn the child over to you, and that's going to be left up to you to do it, ma'am. I lose jurisdiction at Texarkana. I'm giving you custody, but if you want to, if he doesn't turn the child back over to you, the only way for you to get this enforced is to file a writ in North Carolina and have the court of North Carolina order him to turn the child over to you. And you can't get that done for free. You have to hire a lawyer to do it.
While Ms. Carroll fights for her child's safety and faces challenges with Mr. Blade's neglectful behavior, another father, Mr. Nicholas Fowler, grapples with the financial burden and paternity issues in a complicated case of back child support.
Okay, and do you and Preston live together in Hardin County?
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, who is Preston's father?
Nicholas Fowler.
Ms. Coleman is seeking to confirm Mr. Fowler as the legal father of her child, Preston, who is 11 months old. She doesn't want to change Preston's last name due to the complications it would cause with official documents and benefits.
Hey, at this time, the state will move for the admission of the genetic test results for Preston Coleman as State's Exhibit A.
Exhibit A is admitted into evidence. I'm going to find that the alleged father, in this case, Mr. Nicholas Fowler, is now found to be the biological and the legal father of the child, Preston Coleman.
Preston currently carries the last name Coleman. Do you want the court to order his last name to be changed to Coleman-Fowler?
Is it necessary?
Do you want to change his name?
No, ma'am.
And why don't you want to change his name?
Just because of the social security card, his birth certificate. I had to pay for all of that. I had to pay for his extra birth certificates. It costs money. He's in daycare, he's in the system with Medicaid and food stamps and TANF, and I'm going to have to change all that. And I just recently found a new job that I'm not going to have time to go take off because I lost my other job because of the child care. It's just changing all that for just one more name is going to hold a lot of things up. It was very complicated with it because I'm with the Texas Workforce Center now through the child care. The TANF recently just got switched over. He's in the system with Coleman only. His birth certificates with daycare, and then just so much I would have to change.
Okay. Were you and Mr. Fowler ever in a relationship?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did the two of you ever reside together?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And when did that relationship end?
April 24th, 2021.
Has Mr. Fowler provided financial assistance for Preston since he was born?
No, ma'am.
Are you asking the court for back child support today?
Yes, ma'am.
And who does Preston live with?
Me.
And how long has he lived with you?
His whole life.
And who makes the important decisions for Preston?
I do.
And who makes the day-to-day decisions?
The day-to-day decisions?
Yes, ma'am.
I do.
Okay. And when did Mr. Fowler last see Preston?
I believe it was June 29th, 2023.
What safety concerns do you have with Mr. Fowler visiting with your son?
Just the people he knows. I don't know who he's gonna choose to hang out with that day and what they're gonna do.
If the court were to make an order regarding visitation today, would you ask for what's called a phased-in visitation plan that includes some supervised visits?
Supervised visits? Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. And would you be able to supervise those visits?
Yes, ma'am.
And how is Preston covered on health insurance?
Medicaid.
I'll go ahead and pass the witness.
Call you next week.
The state will call Mr. Fowler.
Mr. Fowler wants Preston to have his last name, but hasn't been actively involved in Preston's life or provided financial support.
Preston currently carries the last name of Coleman. Are you wanting the court to order his last name to be changed?
Yes.
And what do you want his last name to be?
Fowler.
And when did Miss Coleman tell you that you could be Preston's father?
That I could be?
Yes, sir.
Well, it's kind of been understood that I was his father,
Okay.
but it's just been seeing him.
Okay.
I just want to see my kid.
Okay. Have you provided any financial assistance for Preston since he was born?
No, ma'am.
And who does Preston live with?
He lives with Rebecca.
And who makes the major life decisions for him?
Rebecca does.
And who makes the day-to-day decisions?
Rebecca does.
And when is the last time that you saw Preston?
June.
Have you ever kept Preston overnight by yourself?
No, ma'am.
And what city do you reside in?
Body.
Are you presently working?
No, ma'am.
And when is the last time that you worked?
2022.
What do you typically do for work when you're working?
Operate heavy equipment, cut trees. Right now, I just volunteering at church and Vider, just doing odd things.
Are you currently looking for work?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you be interested in a program that would help you find a job?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I need help pertaining my identification.
And how are you currently supporting yourself?
My old lady, she has a job, work for healthcare.
Are you paying any type of rent?
We got electricity, water, and rent, but she paid.
Okay, so she's paying for all of your expenses.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any any reason that you can't work?
No, ma'am.
And do you have any other biological children under the age of 18?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How many children do you have?
I have McKaylin. She is 14. I have Braxton. He's 4. And I have Briley. She's a year old.
Okay. Do any of these children live with you?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Do you pay child support for these children?
For McKaylin, yes.
For just one of them? Okay. I'll go ahead and pass the witness.
Call you next.
I have no further witness.
Why hasn't Mr. Fowler seen Preston since June?
He hasn't asked.
Okay. Did you ever tell Mr. Fowler that somebody else could be the father of Preston?
Yeah, when I was
When
mad.
did-
When
when
I was
did you
mad
do
with
that?
him. When I found out I was pregnant and he
Okay.
left, I said it out of meanness.
Okay. But even after that, you guys tried to work it out, and Mr. Fowler had some contact with Preston for the first 6 months?
No, we haven't seen each other since I was pregnant. Since he found out I was pregnant, he left that same night
Okay. Well,
when I took the test.
how was it that Mr. Fowler was able to visit with Preston in June?
He asked me on Messenger to let him see him, and I took him to Vider Park that morning. The next day, he had a dentist appointment, and I was going out towards Beaumont anyways, so we stopped in Vider to let him see him, and we met at McDonald's.
So you have seen Mr. Fowler since y'all separated?
Yes, that day.
Okay.
Sorry, I wasn't.
These are very specific questions, Ms. Coleman.
I'm sorry.
You can give me specific answers, okay?
Yes, sir.
I didn't ask you if you were still dating Mr. Fowler. I know that's not happening. I'm trying to establish why Mr. Fowler hasn't had any contact with Preston. So he hasn't had any contact with Preston since June, correct?
Yes.
Was he having regular contact with Preston before June?
No.
Since Preston was born, in your best estimate, how many times has Mr. Fowler seen Preston?
Once.
That's it, just the June visit. That was all.
Yes.
Do you agree with that, Mr. Fowler? That's the only time you've ever seen Preston was the one visit in June? Okay. Well, I mean, that kind of squares that up.
I look forward to seeing more of him, though. Now that I know he's...
Mr. Fowler, I look forward to giving you the opportunity to spend more
Thank you.
time.
Mr. Fowler appears somewhat disconnected from the responsibilities of fatherhood. He hasn't provided financial support and has been largely absent from Preston's life. He's also facing challenges with employment and identification, which complicates his situation.
Thank you, sir.
So you haven't had a job, Mr. Fowler, since 2021?
22.
Why?
Well, I've had jobs, man, but I'm not labeling them because they was paid cash, like cutting trees, landscaping.
You said that you work. You said that you use heavy equipment.
Yes, sir.
Are you trained in the use of heavy equipment?
Yes, sir.
Do you carry any special licenses that allow you to use and operate special heavy equipment?
Yes, sir. I'm trying to get I'm having difficulties retaining my identification from DPS because my birth certificate's lost and my social security. So I'm on medication through Spindletop.
Right.
And they're supposed to be helping me, but they just want to pay for it.
Right.
And
Okay.
I'm like, I don't need help paying for it. I need help with the documents of retaining it.
Right. What county do you live in, Miss Coleman?
Hardin County.
All right. Is there some place that you're willing to meet Mr. Fowler, or is it okay if he just comes to your house for the supervised visit?
I would meet him halfway.
Okay. In the order, I'm gonna put that it's at your house, but if you and Mr. Fowler can agree to meet someplace, that's fine too. Okay. That's always an option that you and Mr. Fowler will have. All right.
Okay.
All right. Ms. Coleman, is there anything else that you think I need to know about this case before I make a ruling?
I mean, I preferably don't want him to come to my house, but if it has.
Again, Ms. Coleman, I mean, if you guys can agree to meet halfway, and obviously that would be easier
Okay.
for Mr. Fowler, then you can do that. Okay.
Okay.
You
Yes.
have to designate some place for it to take place in case you guys don't agree. All right.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Fowler, is there anything else you think I need to know about this case before I make a ruling?
Well, I just wish the boy could have my last name.
Right.
The judge sets a structured plan for visitation and financial support, ensuring that Mr. Fowler will gradually build up his involvement in Preston's life.
Well, the court's going to find the court has jurisdiction. The court's going to find based on the testimony of the parties. I mean, it is certainly in Preston's best interest to name the parties as joint managed conservators with Ms. Coleman as the parent with the right to establish the primary residence of the child. I'm going to give Mr. Fowler visitation, but it is going to be a phased-in visitation schedule, Ms. Simone, with 12 visits at each phase. That means there will be 12 supervised visits for a half a day. When those 12 are completed, then there will be 12 unsupervised visits for a half a day. When those 12 are done, then there will be 12 visits unsupervised for the day. When those 12 visits are done, then there will be 12 one-night overnight visits. And the last 4 visits or last phase of the visits, the 12 one-night overnights is completed, then Mr. Fowler can have standard possession. Those visitations will always be on the first, third, and fifth Saturday of each month until they are completed. I'm not changing the child's last name. The child's last name is going to remain Coleman. I'm going to set child support in this case based on a minimum wage presumption. With giving Mr. Fowler credit for one other dependent, Ms. Coleman, to be ordered to maintain the health insurance that she currently has on the child. Child support's $195 a month plus $25 a month in cash medical. Retroactive child support in the amount of $2,340. That'll be paid back at a rate of $15 a month each and every month till that's paid in full. All payments beginning December the 1st of 2023. Court cost in this case, Ms. Simone, will be due May 31st of 2024. Ms. Simone, did the state of Texas here all the terms and conditions of my court order?
Yes, sir. Are we able to do the choices program for Mr. Fowler?
I didn't understand whether or not Mr. Fowler wanted to be admitted.
Oh,
Mr. Fowler,
okay.
do you want me to put you in the choices program?
What is that, sir?
The choices program is a program run by the Texas Workforce Commission that helps people that want to find a job get a job. They might be
Definitely.
able to help you with your ID problem.
Yeah, enroll me.
Then you're in.
As Mr. Fowler navigates the emotional and financial responsibilities of fatherhood, Mr. Longoria faces even greater challenges from behind bars, trying to establish his paternity while ensuring the safety of his children.
So any other biological children besides the 8 that are before the court this morning?
Oh, not that I know of.
Okay, so he only had these 8 children with you?
Mr. Longoria is in jail and has several children with Ms. Marin. The court is discussing child support and visitation rights for these children. There's confusion about paternity tests. The DNA test results initially showed Mr. Longoria as not being the father of one child, Valentina, but there were concerns about the accuracy of these results.
Yeah, good morning.
Judge, and just for purposes of the record, Mr. Longoria was duly and properly served on or about September 16th of 2022. Turn citation was filed October 7th, 2022.
Very well. Okay. Raise your right hand, please. I need to see your hand. I can't see it. You need to back up a little bit. I need to see your right hand, Ms. Amaron.
Oh.
Yeah. Do you sign swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mita. All right, Mr. Guzman, you proceed.
Yes, Judge, we are here on a suit affecting parent-child relationship and a petition to establish on a existing order that have 6 children. We are adding 3 more children to the order, Judge, or the pleadings were to add 3 children. However, one of those children, Mr. Longoria, has been excluded as the father, Judge.
All right. So
if I may proceed, Judge, let me get those names. So Judge, as to the children, Valentino Luke Longoria and Giorgio Armani Longoria, we have an acknowledgement of paternity. Those acknowledgements of paternity were filed along with the pleadings, the state exhibit A and B. So we would like those to be admitted, Judge.
All right, they'll be admitted.
Now there is a child. Her name is Valentina Heaven Longoria, Your Honor, for which we did a DNA testing. And if I may share my screen, Judge, to show the results. As to the daughter, Valentina Longoria, and Mr. Randall Longoria, Judge, the probability of paternity is 0. So he is excluded as the father of Valentina.
All right. So show is excluded.
So being that said, Judge, Mr. Longoria is in jail, so we will ask for the child support and medical support to be there at 0. And I would like to ask Ms. Zamarron some questions.
You may proceed.
Yes, Ms. Zamarron, can you please tell your full name, ma'am?
Rebecca Orozco Zamarron?
And you're the mother of the children in this case?
Yes.
Now, aside from the now 8 children before the court that you have with Mr. Longoria, does Mr. Longoria have any other children, ma'am, under the age of 18?
Does he have what?
Any other children?
Like in his custody, you mean?
No, any other biological children besides the 8 that are before the court this morning?
Oh, not that I know of.
Okay, so he only had these 8 children with you?
Yes.
And do you know where Mr. Longoria is at, ma'am?
I think he's locked up in the San Antonio jail.
Do you know why he is in jail for?
I'm not too sure. Due to the COVID, I wasn't able to attend the courts because they're very strict on that, so they wouldn't let me go in. But I don't know full details on that. I have no contact with him at all, so I have no information on his court or him being locked up or anything like that. I have no information at all, and I have no contact with his family neither.
And how long has Mr. Longoria been in jail?
I already lost count of the years already. It's been a lot of years already. Well, quite a few years, I guess. I don't know.
And how old are Giorgio and Valentino?
Giorgio, he's 2, and then Valentino, he's 3.
Okay, so that means that he just recently went to jail, correct, Mr. Longoria?
Yeah, that's why I said he's been, I think, away like for a few, like maybe 2 years already.
And when
Giorgio was newborn.
So
when Giorgio was 1 or somewhere around there.
When he went to prison, were you all still together?
Well, we've had miscommunication because I don't know, telephone issues, but no, we were no longer together when he well, we were up until, that day that he got locked up or whatever.
So you were all together until he went to prison?
What was that?
You were together until the day he went to jail?
Yeah.
And you said that you don't know why he is in jail.
I don't, like I said, I was not able to go inside the courts because of the pandemic.
Okay. Now you all have 8 children together, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And how is there the relationship between I know that now he's in jail, but when he was out of jail, how would you describe Mr. Longoria's relationship with the children?
It was good. He would always try to help out as much as possible.
Was
and
he
provide.
Is he a good father, ma'am?
He tried his best. I mean, he worked. Like, he was always trying to work. He was always looking for work so he can buy them things.
But as far as other than financially, was he there for the kids, take care of them?
He would show up like for picnics and school meetings and stuff like that,
Okay. Now,
but he was always busy. I would say with work. So he's just more a busy parent, I would say.
So as far as to visitation with the children, once Mr. Longoria gets out of jail, what is your position as to him visiting with the children? And as with the ones that we're adding with Giorgio and Valentino.
Well, it recently got trialed out with Judge Adolfo. I can't pronounce his last name. And there's set visitation already. And the visitation, I think, was once monthly, supervised.
And when did you heard? When does Mr. Judge Cordova heard the case? I'm not following you, Ms. Samaran.
I think it was last year. I believe it was last year. He trialed it out.
Okay. It was that part of a divorce proceeding or something?
It was just like, I guess, giving me full custody. Because well, he's obviously he's locked up.
Okay. And what visits did you say that court order?
It was I was getting the full custody of all the children.
Right, but as far as to Mr. Longoria's visits, did the judge grant him any type of visitation?
Yeah, I just mentioned that I believe it was a visitation once a month.
Once a month supervised? And where the visits were gonna take place?
At my home. So I guess I'll be supervising the visitation.
So you don't have no safety concerns with Mr. Longoria?
Safety concerns, no, it'll be fine. I mean, it's just once a month, and he's gonna. Well, when I last talked to him, he said he was gonna try his best, for the children and work for them when he came out and provide for them, continue to provide for them.
Do you have any concerns if the children were to go and stay overnight visits with that?
Do I have any concerns over what?
Overnight.
If they were to stay overnight with that?
Yeah, I do have concerns. I wouldn't want that, and the court and my lawyer did not want that either, so that's why it's supervised.
Do you currently have a lawyer for this case? Or that was on your previous case?
Yeah, that got trialed out with Alejandro Gaya.
Okay, but that was for the previous hearing?
Yeah.
Judge, if I can have just 1 second, I wanted to see if by any chance I have a copy of that order. I'm going to open my file here, Judge. The order that you are mentioning that was done before Judge Cordova, did that order include Giorgio and Valentino?
The order that did include Giorgio and Valentino was the one done with the Attorney General, I believe. Because
that's why we're here this morning.
We went to court, and for that for the other children, and it was we agreed to no child support, and with that I don't know that I think the visitation is a little bit regular on that one, but the one with Adolfo I think is the one once monthly supervised. So I don't know if y'all want to modify the visitation on all of them and just make them all once a month supervised.
That's probably what she's probably referring to this.
Right, Judge, and that unfortunately I don't have a copy of that order, but what it seems happened is that there is probably a prior order with the other kids, but these two that we're adding today were not included, so that's why we're here.
Yeah, Valentino and Giorgio were included on the Attorney General.
Right. We are the Attorney General.
Visitation court.
Right, so that's why we're here. So based on that, Judge, we will ask for one, that Mr. Longoria be excluded as the father of Valentina, that we add the children Giorgio and Valentino. No retroactive child support, 0 child support, and 0 medical support effective June 1st, given that Mr. Longoria is in custody. However, Your Honor, based on minimum wage, child support should be $435 a month and $63 a month on the medical. And we would like for that to start on the first day of after the 3rd month of Mr. Longoria's release.
Very well.
And we defer to the court as to the conservatorship and visitation, Judge.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and add the 2 children, Giorgio and Valentino, right? And
Yes, I'm sorry that it's confusing because the 2 of them have their names on the same.
Yeah, Giorgio and Valentina is excluded as
Yes.
the child of the parties. I will name the the mother as the Miss Samaron as the managing conservator of all the children, including these 2 children. That order will be modified to that effect. He will be named, the respondent will be named possessory conservator. He will be given visitation at home once a month, supervised.
The judge is working to clarify paternity issues and set appropriate child support and visitation arrangements. The decision includes a mix of financial support and limited supervised visitation for Mr. Longoria. The judge emphasizes safety and clarity, ensuring that visitation is supervised due to Mr. Longoria's past issues.
There's no safety concerns at this point. Let's start the visitation maybe an hour, or I don't know how you want to do supervised visitation, maybe 3 hours, I guess, once a month. I don't know how the visitation was set up on the other order. It doesn't seem like he is as far as there's a concern as far as the children are concerned. But why don't we do a limited visitation and then let's see where that takes us? You want to do something?
No, it's the reason they did it supervised and once a month is because due to his alcohol and drug problem.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. There's no violence. What I mean by that, there's no
he doesn't abuse you or abuse the kid.
There's no abuse, but there's the alcohol and the drug that did make it supervised once a month.
Okay.
Now, my questions to you, Ms. Amarron, is because once a month is pretty broad. So, I mean, how he will enforce what day of the month it is that he's gonna. So, do you don't recall the court order the 1st, 3rd, or 5th Saturday or Sunday of the month? Do you recall?
I was okay with once a month because I don't want my kids by themselves with him.
No, I understand.
I want him getting a DWI with my children on board.
I know, Ms. Allen, but what day? Do you remember the day, the time, or anything as far as the time that's on the order? Is it every once Saturday out of the month, or was it one Sunday out of the month? How was that?
What due to him being locked up, we weren't able to do the visitation. You know what I mean?
Yes, ma'am. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and do the 3rd Saturday of each month.
Yeah.
Let's do the 3rd Saturday of each month then for a couple hours, or let's do 4 hours. Between 2 and 6.
And I'm sorry?
Between 2 and 6 on Saturday, the 3rd Saturday of each month.
2 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Yes, sir. I think that'll be more definite that we can set up a time upon his release, obviously, not anytime soon. Child support will be at $435, $63 on the medical. That'll be on the first of the month, 3 months after he gets out.
And can the child support be for all the children?
Well, is that going to be set for are you doing the child support for all of them? I guess
Yes,
we
Judge,
are.
this is for 8 children, but again, it will resume when he gets released from jail. Right now, it will be set at 0.
It's for all the children. Anything else?
No, Judge, that covers everything. So we're gonna do the visit supervised at Ms. Amarran's home on the 3rd Saturday of each month from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
All right. And court costs are waived at this point. I don't see what we can do.
Yes,
Okay.
Judge.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Amaron. Good luck to you with your 8 children. Chihuahuas.
While Mr. Longoria seeks a way to support his kids after years in jail, Brian Baczynski battles both personal and financial struggles, falling behind on child support payments and grappling with the possibility of felony prosecution.
Sabrina Dennis Baczynski, now known as Dennis versus Brian Baczynski. Parties in the case have a default judgment of divorce signed July 14th, 2020, which orders Mr. Baczynski to contribute child support and medical support for 2 children in the amount of $933 per month, and that is based on veterans benefits. The current balance owed on the account is $80,485.49, of which $75,445.56 is owed to Miss Dennis in child support. Medical support owed to the state is $4,369.93, and then there are fees and costs. Recent payments on the account in the past year, Mr. Dennis made $40 payments in April of this year, May, July, and August. And then following an arraignment, which was conducted on August 16th, Mr. Baczynski posted a $1,000 lump sum, which was ordered to be paid by the judge.
We're off track here. How can we get, what's been going on, Mr. Baczynski?
Absolutely nothing at all, honestly. I'm currently working with a attorney to get my SSI. That'll help me be able to catch up and pay back what's owed. I mean, $1,000 a month is a lot when you don't even get to talk to your kids, Your Honor.
Well, we don't base child support on how frequently people speak with their children. Are you not receiving the same benefits anymore? Or, I mean,
I am, but my rent has changed. Instead of paying $500 a month like I was when I first started getting it, now it's up to $900 because I had to move. But yeah, just even if I paid that much money every month of payment to her, I wouldn't have anywhere to live.
this is a 2020 judgment. Have you considered trying to get it reviewed or anything?
Have not yet, Your Honor.
I mean, part of the problem is doing nothing doesn't help anybody.
I know, Your Honor. But my payment's still the same from the VA, so I don't see that number changing anytime soon. This is a messed up case, Your Honor. It really is.
Well, the problem, I mean, you know, you're looking at felony prosecution for this. And I mean, what good's that going to do?
I know. I'm not a criminal, Your Honor. I'm not, but I did have some problems with alcohol. I've been to rehab twice in about the last 6 years. I'm doing good now. I haven't drank the crap since then. I've had a few beers here and there, but I'm still getting used to being sober. And, you know, it's been almost 2 years. I'm still getting used to it.
Are you working?
No, Your Honor.
Why not?
I'm not fit for society.
Okay. And when you're talking about, so I'm trying to get into the SSI part a little bit, not too far, but where are you at in the process other than just thinking about it?
Ask the appeals. I have an attorney. I'm supposed to go see her and the judge next month. I want to say the 7th. I could be wrong on the date though. I have to double check.
All right. Do you have some paperwork you can provide to your caseworker on the process? Because we don't have anything to suggest
any right now hard copies, but I know I can get a hold of her and have her email to me, and then I can email to you guys.
Yeah, we're gonna need that information to know that that's something that's going on, because I had no idea coming into this that's what we're working with here. So we'll need to know, where you are in the process and everything like that to make sure that this is what's really going on, because we're in a big hole, and each month it's going to be another $1,000. So, Ms. Dennis, anything you'd like to add or say?
Sabrina Dennis, the mother of the children, is frustrated. She feels that Brian is blaming her for not seeing the kids, even though the children themselves don't want to speak to him. Sabrina highlights that the lack of payment is not due to her actions, but rather Brian's failure to fulfill his financial responsibilities.
The only thing I wanted to say was that the whole him paying for kids he doesn't see, he likes to blame that on me. I have no say in him seeing them. They actually had a conversation with him on the phone that they did not want to speak to him or see him, and he does not lead me in that.
Oh, well, let's about that, shall we?
We're not here to argue that part anyway. That's not, there's a valid court order in place for $933 a month and you're not paying any of it. So I here, the only thing I'm going to do is I'll adjourn this out 60 days so we can get your paperwork. But if you don't show that paperwork, there's nothing I can do with this. And I don't have any control over whether or not the prosecutor charges people, but I mean, $80,000. I know that there was a child support case recently in the 13th Circuit Court. So, and it was less than $80,000. So you're looking at, a possible case. And there's no reason for that, but we got to get something going on in terms of payment. And you need to reach out to your caseworker within the next 70 days and see or 7 days and see if you can, who's his caseworker, Ms. Mullen?
Miss White.
See if there's something you can discuss with her about what's going on, because we're way, way, way off track. There's not a lot I can do about it. If we come back in 60 days and it's still the same, nothing being paid. I mean, what can you pay in the next 14 days? I mean, I want to see something paid.
I mean, I don't get paid till the 1st.
All right, so the next
probably do like 100. I mean, I have to pay over here too. I have to pay everywhere. Everyone's just milking me, man. This is frustrating.
Yeah, tell me about it. It's really frustrating. But the problem is
the judge is focused on the legal obligations and the outstanding payments. Despite Brian's personal difficulties, the judge emphasizes that child support is a legal requirement and not affected by personal interactions or the amount of time spent with the children.
This is it's a big bill for $933 a month. It's a big bill. So you got to work with your caseworker on if that's not what you actually make. I don't know what to tell you, but we've got to, I want to see at least $100 in the next 21 days.
Do it on the 1st.
All right. So we'll stand adjourned in 60 days. But if we don't have if you haven't provided any of the paperwork and we haven't gone anywhere with anything yet, I'm not going to have a whole lot of options.
Good. Now, who do I talk to about my parenting time then? Because
the same caseworker. So
she your numbers, she doesn't answer the phone, nothing. So that's what I'm saying. Like, she coached my girls to say that one time, so she's not a victim right now for that case. Like, yes, I do owe her money. I understand that, but I do not deserve what I'm going through either, Your Honor.
Okay.
Living every day puckered up because I have a warrant for kids I'm not even allowed to hang out with,
Well, you owe $80,000, so that's why and you're not paying. It's your behavior that's caused the warrant. So I'll see you in 60 days, and hopefully you've got something worked out.
I'll have the paperwork and a payment or two by then.
All right, thank you all. We'll stand adjourned.
Each case shows how tough family law can be and how important it is to focus on the kids' needs. If you liked this video and want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us keep making great content. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.